When the beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome in for another episode of The Blitz. I am Evan Closky, joined alongside my man David Schiele as always. And as someone who covers the Bucs and grew up a Falcons fan, there is one common thread for you, David, and it's not liking the Saints.
Ooh, I cannot tell you how much I dislike the New Orleans Saints, but also who likes the Saints? I mean, my goodness, Baker Mayfield.
I guess those in New Orleans do.
Baker Mayfield certainly does not like the Saints. We have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about just that, not liking the Saints, why Josh Grizzard has to go back to his happy place, and after that Lions loss. And it seems like a great time to bring back one of our favorite segments. What are you going to do about it?
So let's get to it. This is the 10 and 10, the 10 most important topics you need to know before the Bucs and Saints square off from the Superdome. At number 10, we have two franchises moving in opposite directions. The Buccaneers and Saints have combined to win the NFC South the last 8 seasons, but we have a Freaky Friday thing going on since 2021. The Bucs have a 5-2 record. The Saints are one of the worst teams in the league at 1-6. Tampa Bay has won 5 of the previous 6 matchups against their rival. This is the first time the Saints will face Kellen Moore as head coach of the team. When Moore was offensive coordinator of the Cowboys and Eagles, he faced Todd Bowles' defense 4 times with his offense averaging south of 20 points per game.
And you know what, Evan? It is worth mentioning this is the first time in a very long time we don't have Mike Evans nor Marshawn Lattimore on the field in New Orleans together, where we have to worry about antics like this. Lattimore was traded in the middle of last season to Washington. Mike Evans is now on the injured reserve list, which leads me to number 9. Mike Evans is having surgery on his broken collarbone and will miss the majority of the season. The hope is he will be able to return for a playoff run, but Todd Bowles said during the week it will be touch and go. So we'll circle back in December. As a result of the injury, Mike's quest to break Jerry Rice's record is now over. He'll have to settle for a tie with 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Beyond the emotional impact Evans' that he leaves in the locker room, there's a massive deficiency at receiver now, and James Yarko joins us now from Locked On Bucs for the Locked On Bucs Burning Question of the Week. And James, how worried are you about the offense with number 13 out of the picture?
Yeah, obviously losing Mike Evans is a huge blow to the team, to the franchise, and the fan base. His streak of 1,000 yards, his chance to break Jerry Rice's record, that's all gone. But as far as the offense is concerned, without Mike Evans, I'm really not too worried about it. We've already seen numerous games now where it's been Emeka Egbuka and the rest of the guys without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, without Jalen McMillan, and we've seen them be able to get the job done. You have Tez Johnson, who has 12 targets in the last 2 games compared to 7 targets over the course of his first 4. You have Sterling Shepard, who's been really a constant for this Buccaneers team. You've seen a recent rise in the utilization of Cade Otton. And, then they get through the bye, then hopefully you get Bucky back, and then you get Godwin back, and then you're looking at Jalen McMillan in mid-December, and then hopefully the very end of the regular season for a deep playoff push, you'll get to see Mike Evans back on the field.
Thank you so much, James. And we wanted to give a tip of the cap to Buccaneers fans because after learning about Mike's injuries, they wanted to do something special for him to show that they got his back.
12 hours after the injury, more than $2,000 were donated to the Mike Evans Family Foundation. After 24 hours, it went up to $13,000. The last update that we have is $16,000. Just a really cool gesture to see.
Yeah, absolutely. What we don't love to see, though, is what's at number 8, Baker Mayfield coming off his worst game of the season and one of the worst of his Buccaneers career. His 23.7 QB rating was the second worst total we have seen in his time in Tampa. He also threw the ball 50 times in Detroit. That is the second most in his career. Not only does Baker Mayfield want to bounce back from that stinker, but he also wants to take it to the Saints every chance that he gets because in 2023, New Orleans injured him twice on illegal hits that were flagged. Mayfield hasn't forgotten about any of those.
It hasn't exactly been clean play from their part when we play them. It's a physical game. I mean, it is what it is. You expect it, division rival. Not much else to say besides the fact that I don't like them.
David and I posted about this on X, and my mentions are in shambles right now from Saints fans. I know New Orleans and Atlanta is probably the number 1 rivalry in the NFC South, but ever since Tom Brady came to Tampa Bay, it's been a different kind of feel when we got the Bucs and the Saints squaring off.
Yeah, and I agree. Look, for two teams that aren't rivals, fans have been bickering like children all week long on my timeline. To be honest, it really comes down to the fact, to me, that sometimes Saints fans don't know when their own stuff stank. And look, I don't know another fan base that celebrates other teams' losses more than their own wins. I think that's weird. The Saints have long been a team to easily dislike because of that, especially here in Tampa Bay.
They've been holding in that rant for a while. At number 7, something that would help Baker Mayfield out is establishing the rushing attack. If you remember last year, this game in New Orleans was the best game of Sean Tucker's career. He totaled 192 yards with 2 tutties. He had 14 carries in that contest. He has had 11 this season alone. And Bucky Irving hasn't even played the past 3 weeks. Between him and Rachaad White, the Bucs are looking to average more than 4 yards per carry for the first time since week 2.
And at number 6, Alvin Kamara is still out there for the Saints, playing in his 9th season with the franchise. While Kamara averages 4.4 rushing yards in his career against Todd Bowles, he has averaged 3.4 yards, and that's with 10 games under his belt. Now, given how poorly the Bucs have done against pass-catching running backs this season, he's probably more of a threat through the air than the ground. At number 5, Spencer Rattler will be throwing the rock to him. He made his NFL debut against the Bucs last season at home and has proceeded to go 1-13 in his 14 games as starting quarterback for New Orleans. He is showing improvements, however. Last year, after 7 games, he had 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. This year, after 7 games, he has 8 tutties, 4 picks. The most yards he has thrown in a game was against the Bucs in his debut. The second most yards he has thrown in a game was against the Bucs inside Raymond James Stadium. There is not a stat that will wow you with Rattler, but he's not someone to take lightly either, Evan.
At number 4, unfortunately for Bucs fans, Rattler will not have to worry about Hassan Reddick, who injured his knee and ankle in the loss at Detroit. According to Next Gen Stats, he has the 9th highest pressure rate in the league. He has complemented a unit that has 20 sacks on the season. Expect to see more of veteran Anthony Nelson moving forward.
I mean, it's just part of the job. It's part of what we battled through this whole year. We've had injuries everywhere at some point, but that's part of our responsibility. Just everybody's got to be ready. We really lean on everybody. That's part of our culture here. Bowles does a great job of instilling that, but we lean on everybody to make plays, to do their job. So it's just another example of that.
At number 3, while Lavonte David is banged up too, he'll have to continue to lead this defense and team. We actually have an unk-off between Lavonte David and Demario Davis. Both players are in their 14th season of football, and the durability from both of these guys is remarkable. Lavonte has never played less than 12 games in a season. Meanwhile, Davis has only missed 2 games in his entire career. That is incredible.
Only 2? At number 2, the Bucs are coming off a 4-game stretch with all those injuries facing teams that are combined 20-8 on the season. Based on winning percentage, the Bucs have the 7th easiest schedule remaining, so taking care of the Saints is critical with New England, Buffalo, and Los Angeles, the Rams that is, waiting for you after the bye week. At number 1, time to bring back our favorite segment. What are you going to do about it? This is something we came up with in 2022 when Tom Brady would share press clippings with teammates to try to get them going.
Look, after a terrible night against the Lions and the bye week coming up, it felt like a good time to try to inject some life into the boys.
Yeah, and I'm going to start us off. Baker Mayfield, for weeks, we talked about you. The nation talked about you. Everyone touting you up as MVP. Then a week later, you're old news. I know it didn't work out in Detroit, but this is a rivalry game. This is a team that had you injured for the 2023 playoffs. So heading back to New Orleans with plenty of receipts to take with you, I got to ask you, what are you going to do about it?
Josh Grizzard, you laid your first egg as offensive coordinator. You've had to manage injury after injury after injury, and you shined through it all before Detroit. Now, we are entering week 8, and I can't stop hearing national pundits get your name wrong. Okay, Grizzard, all of a sudden? All right, so was last week a blip on the radar, or are you going to have this team moving in the right direction? So I got to ask you, Grizz, what are you going to do about it?
Chris Braswell, with Hassan Reddick out, you're going to get more snaps. We heard all offseason long about how we're going to see you take a jump in year 2, yet the coaching staff has yet to play you more than 18 snaps in a game. You were a second-round pick. You worked your way up that Bama roster and became a stud in the SEC. This is your time to shine. So I got to ask you, Chris, what are you going to do about it?
Servassier Dennis, what you put up on tape last year before your injury was spectacular. This season, you're surrendering the most yards in coverage and missing nearly double-digit tackles in that spot. Fans are saying they need to make an upgrade at this position 7 games into your tenure as a starting linebacker. So I got to ask you, Voss, what are you going to do about it?
Todd Bowles, the midseason lows are happening far too often with this team during your tenure as head coach. Now, you didn't let that happen after the Eagles loss, but what happens if you lose to the Saints? The Saints are 1-6. You're going to have to nurse that negativity for 2 weeks heading into the bye week. The grip on a playoff spot would be slipping away. So I got to ask you, Bowles, What are you going to do about it?
Jason Light, you can't avoid the smoke here, man. Let's say the Buccaneers win in New Orleans and the team is 6-2. Are you going to sit around and do nothing to help this group out? Some key pieces will return, but other key pieces will not. I know you love boat parades, but do you love them more than your draft picks? Jason, what are you going to do about it?
Time now for the all-out blitz, and we're starting with our parlay of the week. We both did horrible in Detroit, so we're going to change up the strategy. David and I are going to figure this out together. I like Rachaad White scoring a touchdown. I was wrong last week. I'm doubling down on him.
I like Cade Otton over 3.5 receptions. Then we both came to the conclusion of Baker Mayfield throwing the ball less, so we are taking the under, round that all up, plus 475.
As for what's cooking on 10 Tampa Bay, it's a doubleheader. We got Miami heading on the road to take on Atlanta at 1 o'clock, then at 4:25. It's the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Broncos in Denver, a great offense versus a great defense there. Checking out our Blitz picks records. I picked Detroit last week. David did not. I now have a 2-game lead on this man with the boys heading to New Orleans. So I'll start us off. I think Tampa Bay fans are going to be uncomfortable for most of this contest. New Orleans is not going to lay down at home against their divisional rival. Not in this spot either. Despite their best efforts, I am going to go the Buccaneers 20-20. I got this as a gritty, not pretty, David.
Yeah, so I've got the Bucs taking this one 26-17. I think the game is going to be closer than this score. I feel like the Bucs might get ahead early and then the Saints might come back. I'm just not willing to give the Saints a win against Tampa Bay, even with the Bucs banged up.
Yeah, that's it. They're so banged up. Look, that is going to do it for us on this episode of the Blitz. Kickoff from NOLA is at 4:05. Remember, there is no episode next week. The Bucs are taking a bye. We're following suit. We will see you back here 2 weeks with them returning to Ray J. For David Schiele, I'm Evan Closky. This is the Blitz. We will see you same time or same place next weekend.